Last night, I had a dream that you were in a romantic relationship with Pete Wicks.
Oh my God, you've gone there. When you say listen to your father, even the dogs are like, who the fuck was that?
Oh my God, I've ruined my whole life. I've ruined my whole child's upbringing, and he's going to remember this forever.
Did you cheat on Alec with me?
Wow. I am so excited about the episode today. I didn't really sleep last night.
Because you were thinking about it too
I
much?
was thinking about it way too much. Isn't that cute?
Yeah, it's quite cute. Anything specific?
You have had some absolute bangers come out of your mouth this week.
God.
So I've got a few things that I want to pull you up on, but one that actually came out of your mouth this morning that I thought I had to add in.
Oh no.
We need to unpick it, okay?
Oh no.
He said...
This is worrying because I have
I'm already chuckling to myself. You don't know what I'm going to say?
No, my
Please
heart's
don't get angry
pounding.
by the way that I bring this up, because we're all friends here and I think people will appreciate this one.
Shit.
Okay, he said, last night I had a dream that you were in a romantic relationship with Pete Wicks.
Oh my God, you've gone there. You've gone there. I did. It is true. I can't actually run away from this one. I slept terribly, for the record. And you just said you had a great night's sleep.
You were farting all night.
I was
but we don't need to
farting
go
and
back
I was
into that.
rutting about you in a sexual relationship with Pete Wicks, which is horrendous.
What were you up? So did you have a nightmare and then you woke up and then you were like hot and flustered? Because this morning I felt like you were weirdly a bit horny. So.
That's usual for me. I'm still 17. Why was I thinking about Pete Wicks, or just that whole...
Well, why? Because this morning, actually, when you said it to me, and it's really good that we can laugh about it now, but I feel like you were actually a little bit upset about it. I think it's something that you've actually thought about before, and I just need to set this record straight, okay? Pete is like a brother to me. I'm not into people with long hair and loads of facial hair and loads of tattoos. You know I like the Abercrombie, like clean cut, like American jock style look. So you don't have anything to worry about that. Because even when we went to my brother's birthday dinner and Pete was there, you were like, you kept questioning me because I wanted to go to the pub with Pete earlier before.
Yes,
and you
were
made
it very obvious that you were like, is Pete going? I'll sit next to Pete.
Because you were like, oh, why? You were being a fangirl. And I did actually order his book the other day because I want to get it signed.
You want to get it signed? Yeah, see, I could be misreading this. This could be cute or this could be a play.
It's cute.
Fair enough. I also think he's great, by the way.
Well, what happened in the dream? Well, nightmare.
Yeah, let's go with nightmare. It was more of a nightmare. Well, you want specifics?
Well,
it was a
maybe.
very sexual relationship, and I was just basically witness to it all.
What, as in you walked in and we were having sex?
Oh, we're going there. Yeah, yes.
Where?
And then I had a pretty physical confrontation with him afterwards.
God.
But actually, I think I woke up at that point because I don't know what happened after that. I don't know who got the better of who, but I'll assume who won that one.
Where was the affair happening?
Don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know where the location was. Don't know how it happened. Don't know what he was wearing, what you were wearing. Don't know who started it. Don't know whose idea it was. But it happened in my head, and it was brutal. I think I must be deeply terrified of like being cheated on because I've been cheated on before.
So have I in every single relationship I've been in.
Yeah, FYI, I've never cheated on anyone. Just so you know, and everyone else knows. Did you cheat on Alec with me? Because there was a lot of gossip around that.
Oh my God, we're actually in therapy.
Yeah.
Wow.
By the way, I don't know the answer to this, so this will be interesting.
No, I didn't cheat on Alec with you. Okay. Basically, Alec disappeared.
Are we going down this route?
Okay, we'll go there.
We're going down this route.
Because actually, I've wanted to clear this up for a long time because there was a bit of a weird kind of overlap situ. Basically, Alec wanted me to move to the States. He was slightly more keen on me moving to America and kind of making things official.
Yeah.
And there was something in me that knew that I couldn't commit to that. Like I didn't want to uproot my whole life and live in the States. So the long distance thing was working quite well because it meant that we didn't have to see each other that often. And then one day he literally disappeared off the face of the earth. I couldn't get in touch with him for 2 weeks. And it was actually around Valentine's Day, and I have so many bad relationship stories that seem to have happened around February. And I had a nightmare. I had a nightmare that he cheated on me, and I woke up.
Oh my God.
And I knew, so this is just weird on so many levels, but I woke up and I knew that something had happened. Like instantly, it was a premonition.
Do I need to ask you about Pete again?
No, you do not need to ask me about Pete again. And I sat bolt upright and I was like, there's something weird that's happened. And then when I couldn't get in touch with him, I left the house that day and I sat in a taxi and I told the taxi driver that I was single.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I told then everyone I saw that day, I was like, this is it. Like, it's over. Something's happened and I can't go back. And this is the deciding factor, making my decision easier. And what's so weird is exactly the same day that you messaged me out of nowhere. And I didn't even know that you had my number. And you said, do you want to exercise?
In comes the ride dog.
But isn't that weird? You would have had that is a really like a stars aligning serendipity moment. Yeah, what were you thinking, by the way, when you texted me? Because you didn't know that I was single, so you were sliding in.
I'm going to be honest. I recently went from employment to freelance and I was like, I got a bit of extra time on my hands here. I could train people for as long or as little as I wanted. So I was like trying to just see who was around, basically. I was like, let me just go through the phone book and I saw your name and I was like, perfect candidate. Let's see if she's around. And you got back to me straight away. You didn't skip a beat at all on that reply, did you?
No, because I'd just gone through a breakup.
I'm on my way. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and then we trained. And as I saw you for the first time coming up the escalator in Westfield.
No, don't tell him about that.
I knew you were so nervous. We were both so nervous.
I pretended to be shopping for speakers in Bose. I was like, I can't actually take this. I didn't have the stones to turn around and see you coming up the escalator. I was like, I can't do it.
You weren't in the shop though. You were window shopping.
No, I was in. I actually remember it so well. Was I outside?
You were outside just peering in.
Oh my God. Knowing full well that you were approaching me, I was like, just keep looking at the products, dude.
Like a little lamb. How did you know I was approaching?
Now that you know how observant I am, I clocked you from like the first available spotting. I was like, oh my God. She's coming.
So much tension.
Yeah.
And then we exercised and then I asked you out for a date in Nando's underneath. And then the rest is history. But no, Alec didn't technically know that we weren't together at that point because he wouldn't answer my calls for weeks. Right. So actually he didn't know that we were done, but we were done because he wasn't answering my calls and I knew that something shady had happened.
Okay.
So no, there wasn't an overlap, but then there was that weird trip when I went away to some bars and Spencer and Alec were both there when we'd started dating. And
Here comes a confession.
That was an odd trip.
What the hell happened on that trip?
Nothing happened. It was just a very weird trip.
Anything you want to tell us about that?
No, I don't. It was just weird. I shouldn't have been there, and I was there, and they were both there with their family, and I was hanging out with both of their families, and I just remember because we'd started hanging out, I was suddenly really into fitness. So I would just remember like marching around the island a lot and wanting to do loads of exercise and being like the most helpful person ever. Because
Are you
I
saying
had so
that you
much
cheated
energy.
on me in St. Bart's right now?
No, I'm not.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Fuck me, you did.
I didn't.
This is a discovery.
No. I actually didn't.
Okay.
You're making me laugh. And I do think that this all ties in quite nicely with the big he said that I have. So you said that I quite like your ex.
Oh, yeah. On the weekend. Real life made in Chelsea bumping on King's Road of all places.
It's so weird because we were in the car driving up the KR to go and do a bit of...
No. We weren't driving. We walked from home and you were like, are we actually going to walk the whole way? And I was like, yeah, we're going to get new stationery from Ryman.
Yeah,
that's how I suckered you in.
Ryan is so loyal to that brand, even though he doesn't have any ownership over it.
I need to change
we
that.
just sometimes call you the Ryman. I don't know whether it's a good time to invest in our store. It's not a lot of stock on the shelves. And any time we walk past Jam Industries on the King's Road, which is one of my exes called... One of them.
You can't even get your words out. Would you like me to take this bit?
Andy, he was on Made in Chelsea with us.
What, are you? No. You get a bit hot over there.
No, I'm actually not at all. I couldn't remember whether you were on the show at the same time as him.
No, but I'm aware that he's your ex. I saw him come out the shop.
Every time I walk past that shop or drive past that shop, though, I have to look in because I'm like, it's just weird.
Do you know what's funny about that scenario?
And I've never seen him.
I saw him come out of the shop instantly. I strangely felt very at peace and very like, usually I'd be quite rattled by that. I'd be like, oh no. If it was someone else in your long list of exes, I'd be like, oh God. I felt you crumble though. I felt you crumble. I wasn't holding your hand, but I felt you made some weird like squelching noises like.
What do you mean squelching?
You did something very weird and I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be interesting. And then I introduced myself to him, and right from the get-go, I was like, I quite like this dude.
I know.
I feel like he liked me as well.
I think you guys are cut from the same cloth, actually. You love surfing. You're really outdoorsy.
He's from Devon.
And you're both good people.
He's handsome. I was like, should we be mates?
I was really flustered because I haven't seen him, obviously, for like many, many years. So I haven't even seen him since I've had a child.
Your eyes are doing something weird right now. They're like lagging in their blinking sequence. They're like, oh.
I haven't seen him since all the trauma, and I've seen lots of his friends since the trauma. So I've seen like Stevie, like a lot of the people that were in his year at Leeds, and I don't need to make my whole life and world about this like big cataclysmic trauma event, but I've kind of seen everybody that I've ever known since the trauma, whereas I haven't seen him. So I was like, are we going to acknowledge this? Is he like, we're also with our son? Like, is he going to be like, oh, the only question I could think to ask is like, have you got kids yet?
I remember you asked that. You were clutching there. You were like, Sue, do you have kids?
And the worst thing about it is it was the one day, and like, look, obviously I don't actually care, but it was the one day I wear makeup every day of my life. Like I am pristine with makeup. And it was the one day I went out looking like a naked mole rat with glasses on, a big hat, and like a full shell suit.
Yeah.
So I just felt really like innocent, like a 12-year-old hamster.
That was an interesting bumping.
What's really lovely
is the way I handled it.
It's the way that you handled it, because Ryan...
I was taking the piss, but I'll carry on.
Ryan, from our entire relationship, has never been okay with talking about exes. It's that whole thing of like Voldemort and Harry Potter, he should not be named. I don't even mind if I get that wrong. I'm not a fanatic like Sam. But you've always hated just the idea of me having like a past life with anyone else. And I think that that's something that your whole family have a bit of an issue with. And actually I used to find it weird, but now I think it's quite sweet. And you did bump into Spencer weirdly twice in one day. Say a couple of months ago, you guys were on like the same running circuit and you high-fived. And when you came back and told me about that, I was like, what? Because for years, I've never known anything about your exes. I don't know how many people you've dated. For all I know, you could have slept with 5 people or 55 people or 500 people. And I'm not saying we need to talk about that on the podcast.
Thank God.
All of that kind of like past history stuff has always just been, we've gone into this relationship and not gone there.
Yeah.
So what's changed now that means that you're okay with all my exes?
No, I don't think anything's changed so much. It's just in that situation when we had that bump in, I was unusually very content with where I was at. I didn't really ask you any questions after we met him. I didn't ask you a single question about your relationship, did I? It's not like I was digging deeper into it. To be honest, it comes from a place of just, I think, like fierce loyalty. I remember that's how Jamie described me on the show. He was like, dude, you are just like fiercely loyal to people you love. And I was like, yeah, it's a good observation because it's true. So when the subject of exes comes up, it's more about, I don't want to talk about my exes because I'm trying to be respectful to you. And if I can try and articulate it, I think what I mean by that is I don't want you to sit there or stand there in a conversation and to think for even a moment that I'm like drifting back through memories about someone else.
Okay.
Because I if you were to do that to me, that makes me feel a little bit uneasy and a little bit like, ooh. Does that make sense?
No, it does actually make sense.
So I'm almost trying to like protect you from that worry or that concern.
Or maybe that's because you have been in a relationship before where someone was like quite on you for like wasn't accusing you of like cheating and stuff.
No, I've actually never been accused for cheating. No, but so
I was surprised that you high-fived Spencer walking around on a run.
I can talk about that because that was a moment. I feel like the whole traffic on that bridge stopped. It was a big high five, and I think it was loaded from his side. He was going over one side of the bridge. I was going on the other. We were on the same side, but we were running in different directions. I had the pram. Leo's in there doing his thing. I spotted him from a mile out. Not a mile out. I spotted him.
But Ryan does have 20/20 vision and also notices like
But this was
everything.
One of this interaction, by the way, this is very different to me bumping into Andy because I was like, what's up, dude? Put my hand straight out. This was like, oh God, we're going to literally pass each other on the bridge, which is very narrow. Let's see how this goes. So he was like very locked in on me right from the get-go. I was like, well, I'm just going to have to meet that energy right away. So I locked in on him. And as he's obviously very fit at this point because he's getting ready for his super duper marathon achievements, which is amazing, by the way. And he's running a lot faster, first thing. And he's obviously like, right, I think he might have like maybe, you know, when people like sort of like, oh, I see you, I'm coming, I'm going to dominate this situation. So he very much did. And he like shuffled to the side, I'm with the pram. I put my hand out because I saw his hand out, and the connection, it like shook the whole bridge. And I went flying into the wall with the pram. He didn't even stop. He was just like, boom. And he was probably like, yep, he knows. It was like one of those situations. And I was like, fuck, he really just dominated that. It was a connection.
You've also had a pram.
Leo was like, dude, just happened. Lightning strike.
You flew into the wall.
So that was an interesting. But I've actually seen him.
What was weird is that you then looped again on the same running circuit.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
the same day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like 20 minutes later, and I was like, no, I'm still stinging here. But I've seen him actually many times since, and he now gives me like a friendly.
Really?
Nod. Yeah.
That's quite lovely, actually.
Yeah, and I give it back to him as well. You know, I can remember the first time that he set eyes on me. He really was not impressed. It was at some Made in Chelsea live event. Maybe some sort of screening, and he was there with a different TV show because we never crossed paths on the Made in Chelsea scene.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say.
And he just didn't take his eyes off me the whole time, and I was so like nervous.
Really?
Because obviously I knew who he was. I knew he was your ex, and I was like, Jesus, this guy he is icing me across the room constantly.
Eyeing you up for breakfast.
And I knew no one at this point, so I'm like, I'm not entirely sure how to handle this.
Isn't it funny when you bump into people at like just moments and you think that's a sign for something? But we bumped into your ex when we were at Soho Farmhouse, didn't we?
Yeah, and that was one of those.
And you got really awkward. You were like hiding. Hiding behind a curtain, literally.
Like, I had a hat on and I just went smaller in my seat. I could feel myself doing it. I was like, oh my God. I basically look back at that relationship and I'm just not fond of how I stepped away from it. I pretty much just up sticks and left.
Did you ghost?
To be truthful, yeah. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to communicate, how to get out of it. She was absolutely perfect in so many ways. And when I saw her, I was like, I just felt embarrassed because I was like, oh gosh, you must think that I'm just a child, because I acted like a child at the time. But can I just say, now that we had that bump in with your actual ex on the weekend, it's in my head. That's why I'm dreaming about Pete Wicks and you. Oh. Something's triggered something in my conscious. I'm like, oh my God, this is dangerous territory.
Well, there was obviously something stuck in my subconscious. So when I was doing this traumatic kind of trauma releasing breath work with this lovely lady Charlie upstairs, I was still really not mentally well. And I'd lie on the floor and we'd do like 90 minutes of breathing, and it was
90
like
minutes
holotropic breathing, where you breathe in through your mouth and out through your mouth, like, and you get to a pace where it's quite quick. And I used to have all these like weird hallucinations and things. And even at one point I had heard like a really loud like bang and a clatter, and I could see my brain like in front of my eyes. It was very odd.
Is that the high five between me and Spencer?
Like the high five between me and Spencer. But I also had like a weird moment where afterwards, when I kind of came around back into my conscious state, I had a strong urge to message all of my exes to try and kind of
reconcile.
Yeah, like reconcile, but obviously not kind of reconcile a relationship or a friendship, but more just to maybe apologize for things that I'd done in the past, or just to undo any negative feelings that are trapped in there, because I guess they are like traumatic memories, aren't they? Like breakups and the breakdowns of a relationship. They like leave you with wounds. Yeah. But then, you know, I an hour went by and I was like, God, I'm glad I didn't message them all. That would have
that was going to be like the second really big confession. Be like, no. Actually, I did. I messaged them all.
No, I didn't. Oh, that's why I was so awkward with Andy. Yeah. No, I don't have really any relationship with any of them, which is good for me. Relationships coming to an end is such a tricky thing, isn't it? Because what is the closure moment? Like, how do you actually, unless you move to another country, which makes things easier.
Doesn't actually, because I've experienced that as well. Don't think you ever do get closure, at least from my experience. I remember my brother, who's 6 years older, he was like, just smile, it happened, and don't frown that it's over. And that's the only thing I've taken from like moving past ex-relationships.
That's such a lovely line.
Yeah. I feel like he probably took that from a bumper sticker, but it's a good one.
What would make you feel the most comfortable if we were to bump into
Well, I can tell you, if we use the Andy bump in,
yeah,
I just think going into that interaction and that exchange with him, It wasn't loaded. I just kind of,
Yeah.
hey, I'm Ryan. I actually remember doing it. I almost sensed that it took him by surprise. He was like, oh, cool, nice to meet you. I'm Andy. And that just changed it. Do you know what I mean?
There are things that are unavoidable, especially if we all live in Southwest London. Like we might bump into people that make us uncomfortable. But I think the key thing is making sure that your partner feels just comfortable afterwards and that you're not, super like giddy about it and overexcited and then wanting to tell everybody, not picking up the phone and like telling all your friends. I think we're kind of slightly beyond that anyway because we don't live in such like a gossipy place in our life anymore. But there have been times when I was younger, oh my goodness, I used to date people that were in a really tight friendship circle with me and loads of my other friends. So going through a breakup was the most devastating thing in the world, and especially at uni, because you couldn't escape them. Like you'd bump into them everywhere, in the library, at the nightclubs. You'd find out who they were then getting with your really good friends, like ex-flatmate, and you'd just, all of the dirty laundry would be aired everywhere, and that was intolerable to be around.
Yeah.
I found it so upsetting.
Yeah.
And I suppose actually it's probably one of the reasons why, having dated a few people that were really I'm not a player, a few people that were in a big like circle of friends of mine going through really tough breakups broke me and left me with no confidence and actually probably led to a lot of my like damaging drinking behaviors. I then dated people that felt like they were completely separate. And for me, you were one of those people. And that was, the easier, from the outset, it was the easiest relationship that I've ever been in. There was no association. Yeah. It was completely a clean slate, blank. Yeah. No one had any gossip about you.
Yeah.
It was ours and it was only ours. And there was no external just noise, people trying to get involved and give us like advice or, oh, so-and-so dated thingy before. And so,
yeah,
gosh, but it's not always possible, is it, to find someone that's just yours, like your person. And I kept you secret for so long because I didn't want any input. Like I didn't want other people getting involved.
Oh, I get it.
I think no communication is probably the best form of communication. We're both lucky because we're not mates with our exes.
What you don't know can't hurt you.
Well, so if you're just casually texting your ex now and not telling me, I won't be hurt.
No. I don't mean it like that. I'm not that conniving. I can't lie for shit. But my point is, like, I don't need to know about your history with Andy. That's not going to be beneficial to me.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, would you be annoyed if we were WhatsApping once a week?
Ultimately, I trust you enough to know that probably, if it was going to happen, it would be like on a level that's not going to be, you don't cross the boundaries.
Yeah.
Old Ryan was very cynical about this. I will admit, I used to really kind of I wouldn't really entertain anything to do with exes. But again, it comes back from that fierce loyalty, protection piece that I was trying to tell you about. But as we've gotten older and as our relationships kind of grown and developed, there is enough trust there to know that if you bump into an ex, it's okay. It doesn't need to rattle you. But there's a role to play in both my side and your side. Mm-hmm. And using that interaction as the example, I went in there, fortunately, for whatever reason, with the right mindset and just leveled the playing field. And then your aftercare afterwards was, you didn't talk about it. You just like, well, that's kind of weird, but you got on quite well. And that was it. We didn't have any more conversation around it. It wasn't like you were celebrating it or sad about it. You didn't let me feel any kind of way other than like, well, where do you want to go next?
I love that we're calling it aftercare. Like, can we aftercare each other all the time? No, I love
Stole it from a mate. Aftercare.
I'll tell you something that slightly not rattled me. It made me laugh.
Oh no!
Wait, do you know what I'm going to say?
No.
Okay, so.
But we were doing so well in this therapy session.
No, I know. This is the final thing. I just couldn't not mention it because I can't have a week go without mentioning it because I genuinely just want to ask you about it. When we're in the car, driving down to see my grandparents with my mum.
Oh God.
On the weekend.
Oh no.
You said there was a National Express bus that drove past.
This story.
And we were talking about how, when we used to get on National Express buses when we were younger and they have that distinct smell and it's not always a great experience, to be honest, without sounding snobby. And then you, out of nowhere, went, oh, I once kissed a stranger on the back of a National Express bus.
Yeah.
Given everything that we've covered today,
yeah,
talking about the fact that I had no idea, I couldn't name one person that you've ever kissed before. For you to say that randomly in front of my mom.
She enjoyed the story, just to let you know. She was like, oh, you cheeky devil, you.
I was so taken aback.
Did you not enjoy that story?
I didn't not enjoy it, but maybe I did get a bit protective over you.
Okay. Hello, emotions. This is what I'm talking about.
But so first of all, how do you come about? How do you kiss a total stranger on a bus?
Total fluke. That makes me sound like I've got so much game, which I definitely don't, by the way. But on that day, I had something special because we hit it off right from the get-go. Journey from Cardiff to London. I was on my way to work. At some point in the journey, we ended up making out on the back row of the bus. And I was like, this is awesome.
But wait, guys, isn't that actually mental?
I was quite young.
A total stranger on the back of a National Express bus on your own.
On my own.
Like, what if they were a murderer?
No, it was a hot girl. And I I I'm going to take my shot.
Hang on. So did you make the first move?
No, she did. She did. She was older. I was like 19. I was like fresh uni, like on my way to Abercrombie with my shaved face. Like, let's go.
Can you bring that back, please? And then I might want to snog you.
No, that era's done.
Missed the boat.
What did you just say? You might want to slog me?
Yeah. Like in the back of a bus.
It's pretty dry over here, folks.
So you climb onto this bus and you're sat there.
I didn't climb. I walked up the steps like regular people and I got my seat, yeah.
And you go right to the back.
I went right to the back.
Back row, like 5 seats. And where did you sit in the back?
No, yeah, the very back row was empty.
Yeah.
I was like, obviously, I'm going to go back there.
Was the pretty girl already sat there?
She was.
Okay.
But she was in the corner and she was small and I didn't see it until the last moment. I was like, shit, I've got to commit now because she's seen me like with pride walk up the aisleway to the back and she's kind of sat there looking all pretty with her hair on her. And she looked up at me and I was like, I must have been like, fuck it, I'm going to sit down. So I was in one corner, she was in the other. And then we just started talking straight away.
You used separate corners and then clearly, so you started chatting and then did she move closer to sit next to you?
She did, yeah.
What? And then she just lunged at you?
That's pretty much exactly what happened.
This is so un-you, which is why this is such an amazing story, because I have known you now for, 9 years, 8 years? I'd probably say a different year every time we record an episode.
You actually do.
This could not be happening to a less likely candidate.
Why?
Like, how much is there about you that I don't know?
Probably quite a lot.
Oh,
but that's cool.
Hell.
That adds to the mystery.
Well, I did suddenly find you a bit more attractive when you told me this story.
Well,
I was
pause.
like, oh.
Well, that's interesting. Well, why?
Because obviously I'm just like, oh yeah, no one wants us, Ryan. We're old goods. Like, we're damaged
are you
goods.
sure? Did you see the looks I was getting in Ibiza on the beach?
Oh my God, you're going to sound so arrogant. I'm damaged goods then, because I've got a stone in my back.
No.
And I've got a kid, so I'm just, I'm what I am, and I kind of bringing you down into that pile with me.
No. Yeah.
And so then hearing that there are people that are interested in you,
are you sure?
My little radar, my antenna are going, ooh.
I mean, what I don't know how to do is now answer this without sounding overly confident about myself. But I have a history.
Yeah.
And between 20 and 25, or 19 and 25, I was working at a pretty popular retail store. I'm in this situation in my head thinking, how the fuck have I landed here? Because these people are all amazingly attractive, guys and girls. And I was not just working there. Woohoo! I was playing there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let me just actually strip it back. I just want to know wholesome Ryan again.
Exactly. What you don't know can't hurt you. Let's leave it at that. This week, on the listener messages, we have something around parenting approaches and the differences. I would like to know how you guys deal with the conflict when it comes to parenting. My husband and I mostly work from the same page, but every now and again, we seem to operate from different ends of the spectrum. Sorry, the parenting spectrum. We have a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. Wow. Do you have any strategies or ideas for working out how to navigate this? It's hardest when it's mid-tantrum or when we don't have time to debate about it in the moment. I also really struggle with mum guilt and overanalyze everything I do as a parent, especially taking time for myself. My husband is much better at letting things go and not sweating the little things. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Great question. Also super relevant to us at the moment because Leo's nearly 3. So he's talking a lot more. He's understanding things a lot more and he's starting to actually play us against each other a little bit. And it's becoming trickier to navigate like different parenting styles. And we literally had a situation last night where we could not have been on more different pages when it came to parenting. I just want to make you feel a little bit better, hopefully. off the bat, because yesterday I had major mum guilt all day. This is so embarrassing that I'm admitting this. I was so frustrated with Leo because I'd done everything perfectly in the morning. Like from the moment we woke up like 5 together, it was like ticking all the boxes. We were charming to one another, like had some really lovely like engaged time, playing, communicating really well. And then out of nowhere, he's like, I'm just not putting my socks and my shoes on. And I'm like, how patient can I be? I roared like a bloody lion in front of my son. I was holding him and I like looked in the mirror and I literally went, "Rawr!" Like, and I actually roared like a lion. And I can do that in my sandbath classes with the gong girl round the corner.
Can you?
Because we do those noises. Like, it's actually quite embarrassing when you first do it because you have to go like, "Rawr!" in front of loads of strangers.
How strange.
But it's really like therapeutic. Like anything that kind of like rattles the back of your throat is quite good for calming the nervous system down.
You used to do that in bed. In bed before we go to bed. Just
yeah, because it does.
Through a phase of doing that.
It really helps.
You're like, just give me a few minutes here.
Helps you tap into the parasympathetic. But what I can't do is start, especially now I'm on like the steroids, I can't just have like outbursts of "rawr" in front of my poor son because he's going to get really scared.
That was accurate to how it was.
So then I was like, oh my God, I've ruined my whole life. I've ruined my whole child's upbringing and he's going to remember this forever. Some good things, some takeaways. My parents weren't by no means perfect. I don't remember them shouting once. That's not coming up as like a core memory for me. I think what you don't want to do is exactly what I did. And that's, you don't want to raise your voice and have an argument with your partner in front of your child because you're supposed to be united. So you always want to be aligned in like the way you handle things. And maybe you have to step out of the room then and have a conversation with your partner or just have a code word. Like we have loads of codes that we use now. If I want to speak to Ryan and instead of shouting at him when he's upstairs, I go, we have to whistle at each other. Like that's how diplomatic we have to be around one another. So you might need to just bring in some code words and then you step outside the room and you say, okay, how are we going to handle this so that we're together on this one? And that's one thing actually that the nurse really instilled in us when I'd go to pick up. They'd say, can you just make sure that you guys are really aligned on your styles of parenting? Because the moment that you show cracks in your parenting in front of your children or your relationship in front of your children, they will then start to play you off against each other. And one thing that Leo literally just did yesterday, what was he doing? He was saying, if he didn't like the way that I was handling something, he'd then go, no, daddy, I want daddy for this. He's never done this before. It's only happened this week. And the same the other way around. If you were giving him a bit of tough love, he'd then go, no, I want mummy to do this. And then he'll go, no, actually, I want daddy. No, actually, I want mummy. And really, he needs to want both of us or he doesn't have a choice. Last night, I was being quite strict because I really wanted to teach him some table manners. And you were being quite relaxed and you were sat on the sofa and you were on your phone a little bit. And that kind of started to escalate into
a bit of... Am I going to get a chance to rescue that story?
Okay, yeah, go then.
We'd had dinner and you were taking a certain angle on Leo that, to be honest with you, wasn't working particularly well. And I think that little people, they respond to energies, right?
Yeah.
And your energy was... it just wasn't matching up to what he was like, I'm not into this right now. Because it's not that you were being forceful, but you were kind of being quite repetitive with your instructions. And he was just like, no, this sucks. And I could see what was happening. So I was like, Leo, come around here. And I wasn't trying to make you look worse. I was trying to just offer a different strategy or a different route to connect with him. So I was being overly relaxed and slow. And he came and sat next to me. And the result was that he had loads of steak. And some chips.
Obsessed with him eating steak.
Yeah. But you were almost fixated on like he's got to sit in that one spot and he's got to finish that entire plate before we move to the next thing. And you were like quite on it.
Well, no, I was quite calm though for me.
I'm not saying that
this
is
also
wrong.
The new thing I've been trying is saying, Leo,
I'm not saying this is
wrong. Can you listen or there'll be consequences? Can we use both of our ears? And I really
you stole that ear thing from me. I was like, no. You saw me grab his ears like this and be like, open your ears, buddy, so you can hear what we're saying. You've stolen it from me.
No, I've been doing that for months.
12 months.
I have. I always go, Leo, listen with your ears, listening ears, please. And then reward him if he does listen. And if he doesn't, then there'll be consequences.
Listen, let me just say, I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way. I just think that this whole game of parenting with children, it's a game of energies, and energies get exchanged between everyone involved. And you have your own energy that you bring as a woman, as a mummy, daddies have that energy as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a requirement to shift it around. And it doesn't mean that you're playing off against each other, but there's just like, it's almost like tapping each other in and out of a situation. And that, I tried to tap you out of the situation last night, but you viewed it perhaps as like me saying that you're wrong and I'm better. It's never about that. I'm trying to get our shared collective goal to happen with Leo. And that goal last night was to get him to have his dinner.
Yeah.
But then the thing that pissed you off is that when I cracked that goal, I then went to the sofa and like relaxed because I was like, well, from here on out, I don't really mind what happens. But you're like, nope, you sit back in that chair, Ryan. Leo, you sit back in this one and we're going to have pudding together as a family. And I was like, right, okay.
It's true. Because the moment you start eating on the sofa, you're toast. Leo won't sit still or sit down at the table for longer than 5-10 minutes without thinking that he can go and like get on his flipping motorbike and start doing wheelies. So he needs to know that we're all committed to sitting around the table because they are like sponges and they just absorb what we do. And it's frustrating because we do have good manners, but he needs to really, see it can't be one rule for us and another for him.
Me and Leo being schooled by Queen Mama over here.
No.
Yeah.
You're an amazing dad.
You're an amazing mum, but and I would never want you to think otherwise, but I'm going to use this question as a chance to hijack it and be like, just to remind you, we have different energies, masculine, feminine, mummy, daddy. And there's a requirement in most situations where it's like, you're best positioned for this one, or I am. Very rarely is it a combination. And if it is a combination, you've both got to like tone down the volume a bit.
I have started to do that really grown-up thing.
Listen to your father.
And I'll say, listen to your father. Because I'm trying.
I don't like that.
Because I'm trying to encourage you to speak, to guide him more. So I'll be like, listen, Daddy's got some really wise words to say here.
Listen, it's
and
good.
And now I do feel like I'm honestly like a 50-year-old.
No, you do. I'm going to be honest. You do sound like a 50-year-old parent when you say that.
I'm kind of up for it. It's a role
also,
I'm ready to step
father,
into.
I find quite jarring. I'm like, oh my God.
No, but you need to have a level of authority because otherwise he's just taking us for a ride.
When you say listen to your father, even the dogs are like, who the fuck was that?
I don't say it like, listen to your father.
Yeah, no, you do.
No,
I'm going to record it. I'm going to record it and bring it to the next episode.
Please do.
Yep.
No, I say, listen to your father.
Yeah, well, it's like
he's got some amazing wisdom to impart on you. He's talking a lot of sense.
Listen, I love the fact that you're championing me as dad, so I'm going to do more of that for you, but I probably won't be saying things like, listen to your mother.
In the same way that you'll never call me darling.
I will, but I'll use it as like a way to really knock you off, kid. Louise loves the word darling.
No, I really don't, but I just...
You do know she does. Just own it.
No, I thought that when you got to like a certain stage... the couple started going, darling, can you bring me some water?
I think if we ever wanted more babies, I've just got to be like, darling, are you free? And you'd be like, I'm anyone's. That's how much you love darling. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good question. And I think what we've tried to do is relate it to our own situation with Leo, which is very relevant and true for us. So if our kind of role play of last night's situation with Leo is helpful, then that's great. But
and also please email him with more tips if you guys have them too.
Good point. We are definitely not experts. We're 3 years, not even 3 years into this journey as parents. So we're not experts. We're just the guinea pigs who are willing to talk about our faux pas.
I loved today's chat.
Same.
If you guys enjoyed it too, then do give us a follow on your preferred audio platform. But also we are available to watch over on YouTube if you prefer like the visual stuff. So you can subscribe over there and we'll be uploading every Sunday morning.
I'm going to kiss the lobster.
Be my guest. I was thinking about how weird that is the other day.
I've got a floppy microphone. That's probably my cue to leave.
I was going to make a joke about Pete Wicks.
Let's have it. We don't have one.
Something to do with floppy microphones. I'll get a hard microphone.
Our mums are listening.